Time to get those DraftKings lineups set for week number 5. And here to help us break that down, SI fantasy analyst Ben Heisler and Michael Fabiano with our bargain buys and our low-owned players for this week. Fabs, let's start with you. Bargain buys, who are you looking at to save $1?
Yeah, I like Teddy Bridgewater at Atlanta for $5,900. He's coming off a huge game, more than 26 fantasy points. And now, guys, he gets a great matchup against Atlanta. Their defense is chock full of injuries. And so far, 2 home games, quarterbacks have averaged 319 passing yards and over 30 fantasy points per game. And dating back to last year, quarterbacks visiting Mercedes-Benz Stadium have averaged 23 fantasy points per game. So Bridgewater is in a very good spot to succeed this week. I also like Damian Harris in New England. Last week, the Patriots put Sony Michel on IR, and Harris became their top ball carrier. Now, he's not going to catch many passes out of the backfield. He wasn't targeted last week, but at $4,300, I think he could end up being a pretty good bargain against the Broncos. They've given up some pretty good stat lines to the likes of Derrick Henry and James Conner. And then finally, Darius Slayton against my beloved Dallas Cowboys. Now, at $4,800, Slayton looks like an absolute steal. The Cowboys defense is a dumpster fire right now, and that's putting it lightly because I actually love the Cowboys. Look at the numbers. After 4 weeks, receivers who are lined out wide have averaged 120 yards, scored 8 touchdowns, and are putting up an average of almost 37 fantasy points per game. So Slayton, who runs most of his routes out wide, is a very good play. And once again, at $4,800, he could be an absolute steal. Look for Slayton to have a big game at the Jerry Dome.
Slayton ranked inside the top 15 on Sports Illustrated's custom player rankings that you can get access to by becoming a member of SI Fantasy Plus. Ben, let's go over to you for your low ownership players. We always want to separate ourselves from the masses. So who are some guys that you're looking at?
I think Ben Roethlisberger is a little bit out of sight, out of mind for a lot of DFS players this week. Remember, he was supposed to play the Titans in week 3, and that game ended up getting postponed and moved over to the initial bye week in week 7. But he's a bit expensive on DraftKings, so I think that's going to lower his ownership at $6,600. But he is at home, where he tends to have terrific splits over the course of his career. And I actually think this Eagles-Steelers matchup, guys, has a chance to be a bit of an under-the-radar shootout. The total is only at 45, but I think this game could get fairly high scoring. Also, think about the matchups too, and I think this is a great opportunity to pair Big Ben with somebody like Juju Smith-Schuster, who's been a bit inconsistent over the course of this year. His matchup in the slot with Nickel Roby-Coleman is considered one of the best matchups on the week, according to Pro Football Focus. He should be absolutely dominant in that spot. And I think Big Ben Roethlisberger lines up awfully nicely this week at very low ownership. At the running back spot, Josh Jacobs. I'm going back to him again. I know he disappointed a lot of fantasy owners last week, but the way you hang with the Chiefs, guys, is you keep Pat Mahomes off the field for as long as you possibly can. And Josh Jacobs has had success against the Chiefs in the past. Last year, ran for over 203 yards on 29 carries against Kansas City. And again, John Gruden has committed to using him in the passing game. They're getting him more incorporated. He's had 3 targets in every game so far this year. And remember, too, with the Chiefs' massive home favorites, I think they're currently listed at 13 at DraftKings Sportsbook. That gives Josh Jacobs perhaps more opportunities in the passing game. You get a full point for PPR on DraftKings, and maybe Josh Jacobs even gets more passing targets than we would normally expect from him. But he's on the field quite a bit. He's going to get a bunch of snaps. He's going to get a lot of carries. He may even get some more catches as well.
For more DFS advice, you'll want that membership to SI Fantasy Pro. It's only $19.99 a month. I think that comes out to less than 40 cents a day. You get everything from the NFL all the way through MMA, golf, baseball, basketball. We have everything, including our NFL DFS lineup optimizer. Go to si.com/gambling for more info.